When my sister, Annie, was 18 and I was 21, she got pregnant and had a daughter, Sophie. She developed what we believe was postpartum depression, but was never diagnosed as she refused therapy. When Annie's school started up again, our mother took on all childcare of Sophie. As Mum took on more childcare, Annie seemed more like her old self, happy, outgoing, generally mentally healthy. Then within 6 months of Sophie's birth, Annie got pregnant again with another girl, Laura, and the cycle of PPD symptoms. Mum taking over, and Annie's mood improving repeated. When Laura was 2 and Sophie was 3, Annie decided to move out of our parents' home, alone, and said she wanted our parents to adopt/raise her daughters. They said no. Annie said she couldn't take care of the girls as she had her own life and being a parent made her miserable. My husband and I already had 4 kids of our own, we'd bonded with the girls, and we had the resources for 2 more. So we offered to take them in, and Annie let us legally adopt them before moving about 8 hours away. It's been about 5 years, and the kids are doing well. It was a rough start, but we're now a stable, loving, healthy family unit. Sophie and Laura are 7 and 8, and Annie has recently lost her job and had to move back in with our parents. Annie has now asked for custody of Sophie and Laura. I'm writing custody like that because it wouldn't be custody in the legal sense. As she willingly surrendered all legal rights to the girls and can't get them back, we checked with a lawyer. However, Annie wants the girls to live with her. Initially she said she wanted them full-time and to legally adopt them back from us, which we obviously refused. Then she offered a compromise of alternate weeks, so 50//50 custody. Again, we refused. Given her insistence, we don't even want her around Sophie and Laura. So we've not been going by my parents' house as we typically do. It's been a month of constant badgering, insisting we let Annie bond with her daughters and allow her to at the very least take them for overnight visits, saying that Annie had PPD 5 years ago. And now she's ready to be a parent. I've responded that we are not babysitters, we are Sophie and Laura's parents. They're in a good place and this will be detrimental to all 6 kids. And Annie doesn't get to step in now when she never stepped up in the first place. The response from my parents and Annie is that I'm being unsympathetic to her PPD and I should let her at least have a chance, rather than deem her unfit without giving her a chance to prove herself. Plus, given that we already have 4 kids other than them, Sophie and Laura could probably do with a smaller household, and saying we're being unreasonable for not allowing Annie to bond with her kids. My fiancé, Charlie. My sister, Kendall. Kendall's boyfriend, Jack. Charlie and I have been together for 6 years and have lived together for 3 years. We met in college. Our relationship is awesome. I love him more than anything, and I know he's the one I want to spend the rest of my life with. We're best friends, we make a great team, and we're really happy together. So no problems there. Kendall and I have always been close. We've had normal sisterly arguments and whatnot, but I love her and she's family. I don't really know Jack that well, but he seemed like a nice guy, which obviously isn't the case, and we've all gotten along until now. Kendall and Jack have been together for 2 years. Their relationship is rocky. Kendall has called me countless times because of fights, breakups, and drama. I've always been her shoulder to cry on, and I've supported her through everything as best I can. She has gotten jealous of my relationship with Charlie, saying things like she wishes she could have a perfect relationship like ours, and she wishes she could have that connection with Jack. Recently, within the last 2 months, she started saying things like, I should just steal Charlie from you, and I wish Jack was more like Charlie. I think Charlie and I would be a great match. She started flirting with Charlie, which made him super uncomfortable, and overstepped boundaries. I was uncomfortable and upset with her behavior. We had a serious talk and she broke down. She told me she was going through a rough patch with Jack and wasn't handling it well. She apologized to me and to Charlie, and told me she knew what she did was wrong, it wouldn't happen again, etc. Charlie and I talked about it and we decided to forgive her. At the time of the incident, Jack and Kendall were still going through a rough patch. 2 weeks ago, Charlie invited close friends and family to dinner. This included Jack and Kendall. It was at the restaurant Charlie and I had our first date, down to the exact table we sat at. We had talked about marriage at great length, so I had a feeling. Lo and behold, Charlie proposed to me. It was perfect. I was so happy. I cried like a baby. Our family and friends congratulated us. Kendall seemed super excited. She gushed about how cute it was, started talking about the wedding, and hugged us both. The only person who didn't seem happy for us was Jack. He told Kendall that he wanted to go home and they left early. Fast forward a few days. Kendall texted me and she was pissed. She called me a traitor and a disgusting. I asked her why she was upset. She claimed I was trying to ruin her relationship and then stopped replying to my texts. I texted Jack and asked him WTF was going on. He told me that he was planning to propose to Kendall at dinner. At first, I felt bad because maybe he had planned something beforehand and maybe it was just a huge misunderstanding. But apparently, Jack wasn't even planning to propose to Kendall until we got to the restaurant. He saw how nice the restaurant was, our friends and family were there, and decided, hey, this is perfect. He thought it would help them out of their rough patch, which is a horrible idea because marriage doesn't magically fix relationships. But then Charlie proposed and stole his thunder. He didn't even have a ring. Charlie had been planning that proposal for months. He's had the ring for 6 months, made the reservations 2 months beforehand, invited all of our family and friends. Even the staff of the restaurant was in on the proposal. He put a lot of thought into it, and I don't think Jack's heat-of-the-moment decision to propose is more important than Charlie's carefully planned proposal. I'm actually upset that Jack would make something this special and important into something dramatic and all about him. I didn't apologize. Charlie and I talked about it. He agrees and doesn't think we should apologize. Since then, Kendall and Jack haven't talked to us. Which is fine by itself, but that's not the end of it. Both of them have been shaming us on social media, twisting the story to make themselves look like victims, and have even coined us the proposal thieves. Mutual friends, and even some family, are disgusted with us. They believe Jack and Kendall's story, even after I've tried to explain what really happened. As funny as it is to be called the proposal thieves, it's not so funny to have friends and family turned against you. I'm really upset that my own sister would do this. Charlie has been super supportive and sweet through this mess. We both agree that we shouldn't apologize and have been standing our ground. Honestly, after everything Kendall has done, I'm pretty much fed up with her. She's my sister and I love her, but after she tried to seduce my boyfriend and now this, I don't really have a desire to talk to her anymore. Which sucks, because we've always been close. I think Jack has turned her into this horrible, self-absorbed person, and it's just... I'm not talking to Kendall right now and have no plans to talk to her until we receive a sincere apology. Even then, I think I might limit contact if she stays with Jack. I can't wait to see what a mess actually planning the wedding will be. The people who believe Jack and Kendall's story are the ones who were not at the proposal dinner. A large amount of mutual friends who weren't there plus extended family believe the story. Our parents, Charlie's siblings, and the few close friends that were actually at the dinner do not believe the bullshit story. We just haven't made a post addressing everything / telling our side of the story because we wanted advice on how to approach it. I have a lot of family members. I come from a religious community that doesn't believe in the public school system and tends to have a ton of kids. I have an older sister, Julia, a stepbrother, Ron, a stepsister, Molly, a half-brother, Joe, and a half-sister, Lucy. Growing up, all of us were homeschooled. This involved a lot of neglect, lack of textbooks or seasonally appropriate clothes / shoes, unheated house, and sometimes physical abuse. I lived mostly with my mom, but spent weekends with my step-family. Both houses were dysfunctional. My stepmom used to have a severe problem with alcoholism, although she's been better in the last few years. Ron is my best friend and I would be lost without him. We've supported each other through years of hard times. And we discuss a lot how our lives could have been different if we'd been sent to school or generally had a more healthy home life. Obviously, we don't want the same thing for our younger siblings. And don't want to see them struggling in minimum wage jobs while trying to study for a GED the way we're doing. When I went to visit him recently, I found that my stepmom had gone out of the country for an entire week and left the youngest two at the house. Ron and Molly both work. Molly hasn't been doing any homeschooling for about 2 years and are out of the house for most of the day and night. I tried to help Lucy with her math homework, but she was extremely behind grade level and kept getting distracted because she had to make lunch or do chores. Joe spends all day in his room playing video games and gets no guidance from anyone. I try to as gently as possible get him to do some reading, but he doesn't understand how serious the situation is, and obviously is having too much fun to care. So I called CPS and reported educational neglect. And obviously everyone knew it was me. And Ron told me that stepmom said I wasn't welcome at the house anymore and to never contact any of them again. Molly is extremely mad at me. She blocked me on Facebook and doesn't have a cell phone where I can reach her. Julia, who somehow heard about all this despite living across the country, also blocked me on Facebook and reported my Facebook as impersonating a celebrity. Facebook deleted it, generally making everything harder. This stings even more because I'm already estranged from my bio mom over my religious beliefs. I now have no family members left, besides Ron, thank bejeebus, who want anything to do with me. I feel like I make enemies everywhere I go. Ron has been saying for years that he can't call CPS, and I guess this is why, but at least he doesn't blame me. He suggested that I try to talk to stepmom once some time has passed, but I would have no idea where to begin. I live in an apartment on the ground floor of a house that was converted to apartments. My neighbors, one street over but the back of their house faces the back of the house I live in, can see my whole backyard and vice versa. My apartment has a whole wall of windows that are on the back of the house. It's gorgeous and is a big reason I picked the place. I love keeping plants and it let in a lot of light. Looking out, there is the neighbor's backyard which is large and comes up close to my place. The property line is maybe 10 or 15 feet from my windows. Once it has gotten to be warm out, I've noticed the husband of the family who owns that house looking into my apartment a lot. Even sometimes I'll look up and see him, look away then look back minutes later and he's still looking. So I started shutting the shades during the day, but that was kind of annoying. My place is a dark cramped shoebox without the windows open. And I can't do that for too long because the plants were struggling without light, so I bought these window coverings that make windows into one-way mirrors. During the day when it is light out, my windows look just like mirrors now. From the inside it looks pretty much the same, the windows look tinted slightly darker, but that's it. From the outside you can't see in at all, it looks exactly like mirrors. The section of windows it's applied to is about 8 feet high and 20 feet wide. After a week of the window coverings being up, both of the parents from the neighbor's house came to my door and wanted to talk to me. The wife was complaining about the windows for a lot of reasons. 1, they were ugly too. It was uncomfortable, especially for the teens and their friends, to have a huge mirror adjacent to the swimming pool. It's at a time that they feel insecure about looks and they have lost interest in hanging out by the pool. 3, in the afternoon and evening, it was reflecting a lot of extra sunlight into their backyard. They couldn't enjoy eating dinner on the back porch with the sun in their eyes. I said sorry about the inconvenience, but I wanted it for privacy. They both pushed back on that some, and I said that I needed privacy because of the husband starting. He started denying it in front of his wife, and so I took out my phone where I'd taken pictures and sent it to my group of friends, and showed her a couple pic tires of him gaping at my apartment and the texts from that time. He got mad and said he incidentally looked over, and the 8-foot by 20-foot mirror was a crazy overreaction. I said that I'd like to keep it, and that I was sorry, but frankly this was avoidable. I think they're both mad because they called my landlord, who brushed them off.